So I'm looking at the Amy documentary, but specifically the production, the distribution, and the exhibition of the documentary. So the producer James Gay Reese and the editor Chris King have reunited with Capadia since they worked on Senna together. So they reunited for this project. Capadia, the director, has held more than he held more than 100 interviews of Amy's friends, family, and musicians that she worked with. This gave them a wide range of content to work with, which is really good because then they could select certain ones which are most effective. They were supplied with archive interviews of her, so then they could implement what she said before, so then you get more context about her as a person, maybe stuff you didn't see or you didn't see interviews from before, and then it could also relate with what other interviewees are saying, so they could revert back to it and stuff like that. So yeah, that was good. They chose to tell part of the story through a broader selection of professional and amateur photographs and videos. With this, it never well, because this was a good mix of between both, and the reason why there was a lot of amateur type footage was because they were just filmed on general cameras where it may have been in the studio, or just family cameras that or people have that just with the family, and then they just decide, oh yeah, just go pick up the camera and just record. So then that's why some of it's amateur style footage, but then it adds personal effect to it as well, which is also really good because you want to make it feel much more engaging and have a personal level onto it, so then you see more into her life. There was also with the photos, there was never seen photos of her at her wedding, which were added in. So it was obvious that they wanted to make sure that they got a lot out of it, and that was good on their part in the production wise. They chose to do it as a documentary instead of a drama because creating a script would have taken years, and they wanted to create a documentary soon after she died because the family hadn't been out to speak to strangers. It was only in their small group. So they were essentially the first people to speak to them after her death. So it was, so they would have got all the raw feelings from all the family and the friends. So they would have got all the first real words that have been spoken out. So it would have all still been pretty fresh, and I would have got the best expressions and all the best emotions out of them and all the actual words without them holding back already in a way. So that was really good on their part in basically deciding on how they should produce this story about Amy, either as a drama or a documentary. So yeah, and then they didn't have to worry about financing because all they really had to do was interview people and then just find a nice location. It would have been potentially hard organising the interviews because some people would have been harder to get hold of or would have said no at first. So it may have taken some convincing. But generally, yeah, it was only the interviews that they had to worry about, and then maybe travelling as well. James Gay Reese was disappointed because he was disappointed by the documentary because it wasn't what he was anticipating or expecting. One reason was that he had to collapse 10 years into 2 hours, but he wanted the documentary to be longer, so around 3 hours, I think. So yeah, he was kind of disappointed that he did have longer time to then maybe go into more depth or show more in a way as well. So he may have had to miss out parts or just not talk about certain parts as much that he may have felt was still important in the whole story of her life. The soundtrack used in the documentary was released in October 2015, a few months after the documentary's release. The track list included some of her classic songs. The track list was released on vinyl in 2016 as well in the UK and Ireland, and this definitely would have bumped up purchases for the documentary, because then people will just go back to it. So yeah, that's obviously good, and it's also another way of then creating money as well. Mark Ronson and Tony Bennett featured on this track list with a collaboration with Amy Winehouse. With them being on the playlist, they would promote the documentary to their following, enhancing the audience viewing. Also, when the track list was released, they could have advertised it on their social media page for their following to listen to the music and maybe, and then go and watch the documentary as well. So it's helping the producers get their awareness out of the documentary, so then more people could recognise that there's something being made to appreciate what Amy Winehouse has done in the music industry, and especially in Britain, and then just people seeing more about her life, because people may have only had one perception of her through the media, so it's a chance for them to see more about her. The music that was behind the film earned Amy Winehouse a second posthumous nomination at the 2016 Brit Awards for Female Solo Artist. Then at the Grammys in 2016, she won an award for Best Music Film. These awards and nominations would have increased the purchases and screenings of the documentary, making them earn more and have more recognition for their fantastic work and on a person that has passed away. And it also just gets out the appreciation on what she's done, and shows that that they presented her through this documentary really well, and not making people think one way totally, basically making them be in the middle, because you don't want to force someone's opinion. The producers didn't want to focus just on the downfall of her life, like the media were, who ganged up on her. Well, that's what they said. They said that some people, after watching the documentary, are now reevaluating her and actually realising what talent she had and what type of person she was, not the media representation. The editor, Chris Knight, said that they came across difficulties with the video files due to the varied formats. They had to add layer after layer in editing, so it felt like a singular film. This was only so yes, they only done this because they didn't want it to seem like just a collection of videos just put all together. They wanted it to be pretty smooth and pretty just natural in a way, so it didn't feel like just a clip after clip after clip. That just felt like one smooth video. Universal Music approached James Gary's asking if the team behind the Senna documentary would be interested on working on this. They chose 2 locations to use for the additional footage needed, and they were London and Camden, which is in London. So it's London over on an overall base. But yeah, and then going on to distribution. Well, actually no. When they were they chose those 2 locations only because it was where she was based, and it would make more sense in choosing a place where she was based and born in, and where she developed as a person and through her music as well. It will then be kind of weird them showing it in different countries, people talking about stuff like that, because you can't get that sort of going on to distribution. A teaser trailer for the documentary was debuted at a pre-Grammy event. This would have built hype and awareness for the documentary, and was one of the first sites of the documentary, so people then be questioning it, and then people may take a photo of it, video it, and then put it on social media, which then people, their friends and family, would then respond to, and then maybe share with their friends and other people, and then it just essentially just gets more people aware that there's an Amy documentary. We received the teaser trailer and the official trailer through YouTube, where millions of people could see it, because of how big of a platform YouTube is. It's easy for the viewers to just grow instantly. So it was the best place for them to put the trailer on there, and then get a lot of attraction, and then people would share it as well. Where with her having a great fan base and being such a known artist, people would have watched it and reacted to it, giving their reviews on the trailer as well, and that would have been through YouTube. And with this, it would mean that their following, no matter how big it is, there's still attraction towards it, and then other people watching it will be like, oh, I'm gonna watch the trailer, and that's their overall objective, to get people to watch the trailer to then consider watching the actual documentary. But yeah, it's not even on other social media platforms as well. It's not just YouTube, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. People can then either repost a trailer or have a picture and then talk about it or whatever. So there's many social media platforms in this generation where awareness can go around really quickly for something to get a lot of views, and then for their actual viewings for the documentary would go up from what they previously predicted, essentially. With people making review videos or talking about it through social media, generally, it's gaining essentially free advertisement for their documentary. So yeah, the exposure definitely enhanced their viewers, definitely. Altitude and A24 were the main distributors for the documentary. They both featured the trailer on their YouTube channels. And then to also increase the hype around the documentary, clips were released from the documentary. So then this was Amy talking about depression, and then I think there was some scenes of her in the studio with Mark Ronson and many other scenes as well. This gave an insight into what will be seen in the documentary, creating an emotional pull for the audience to watch the whole documentary. Technology's advancement means that the spread of the trailer, and also just the short clips that were released, would have gone across social media quickly, as I said before, increasing their exposure, which is what they want. They had several posters that are based around the same concept of the main poster, where you can only see the top half of her face, and it sort of tells you that she was always hiding stuff from everyone, and that essentially the viewing of her isn't the actual viewing, and that there's another part of her that's her personal life, in a way, and it's not the media perception. So I think that's a great concept that they done. Within exhibition, the Amy documentary in the first week had the highest opening weekend for UK documentary, grossing at 500 519,000 in 113 cinemas. So it grossed out 519,000 in 133 cinemas in 3 days after its release. There was a midnight screening at the 2015 Cannes Film Festival on the 16th of May. Musicians like Haim, Leon Lewis, Emily Sand, I'm not totally sure how you say that, and were among the crowd, with the film crew in the crowd as well. The documentary received its first UK screening at the Edinburgh International Film Festival in June 2015. Some cinemas in the UK had a special screening on the 30th of June. which was broadcasted from live from the London Gala premiere at the Picture House. This gave the public the opportunity to ask questions through Twitter and Facebook, so then they get to know more about it in general, and all their questions can be asked if they were questioning about watching it, and it could then make them then want to watch the documentary. These questions were answered by Asif, the film director, and Gariz, the producer, and a friend of Amy's, Nick. I'm not totally sure how you said the second name, but her friend Nick. This could give the viewers a clear understanding to certain areas they weren't sure about. But yeah, that was all I had. There wasn't a. It was hard to find a law about exhibition, but yeah, the documentary was really popular in the UK, definitely, because of her, because of what she was like before. So it was understandable that that there was going to be a high of viewing and high numbers money buys as well. But yeah, so that was just my research into Amy through production, distribution, and exhibition.